Hare Krishna, everyone. This is acyuta-bhava, and today I'm taking another question in my Bhakti Q&A series. This one is about work and service. Question comes like this: is there a difference between work and service? I hear service spoken of a lot in the Bhakti community, and I have a feeling I can't call all of my work service. Is there a difference? And if so, what makes work become service? Really great. I had the same question when I was first studying with one of my early mentors, Hari Kirtan, who wrote a really good book about Bhakti called In Search of the Highest Truth. Actually, I'll pause the video and show it to you guys. Here it is right here. It's called In Search of the Highest Truth by Hari Kirtan Das. Hari Kirtana was a yoga philosophy instructor at our yoga studio. And he came into my life at a time where both my wife and I were really starting to question whether we really had yoga in us anymore. Been running as a business for a long time, and we're just sort of disillusioned by the, kind of the Western professional yoga world for a number of different reasons. Not trying to be judgmental. It's just, you see things after a while. You're not sure if there's you're not sure if I've heard many studio owners say this before. In fact, if there's any quicker way to lose your love and practice of something, it's to go and do it professionally, I'm really thankful for Hari coming into my life, because I read his book and I started a private yoga apprenticeship with him that really rekindled my yoga practice and set me on the path of Bhakti. He's an initiated disciple in the Bhakti tradition. And, one of the things that I asked him in the very beginning was, how do I make this business of yoga an actual spiritual service to God? Because it just doesn't always feel like that. Or, when there's bottom lines like numbers and money, and it doesn't always feel like that. And I was reading a lot of Bhakti texts in my private apprenticeship with him. And one of the things that he was saying, or the texts were saying over and over again, is that Bhakti means service. Well, what is service? The reason that one of the great acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, who translated a huge amount of traditional Bhakti literature into English in the 1960s and 70s, one of the reasons that he translated Bhakti yoga frequently as the word service is to emphasize that Bhakti is not just sitting with your eyes closed on a meditation mat, swaying and chanting and feeling bliss. It is that, for sure. In fact, one of the earliest books that you'll see that the Beatles got involved in all this was called Chant and Be Happy. Like, that's Bhakti. But Bhakti also means action. It also means doing something, not just sentimental feelings, not just it's faith in action. So service means doing whatever we're doing, no matter if it's washing the dishes or doing our job or raising our kids or going out with friends or whatever. We're actively trying to bring Krishna in Bhakti, or just God. We're actively trying to bring remembrance of God into the activity. So, for example, how do I do this in my life? Because my work as an astrologer doesn't always feel like it's Bhakti. I mean, a lot of the times it does, but that's because I really keep working on it, and it could always be better. I always try to talk about God. I always try to talk about the soul. And I always try to talk about the need for astrology to be a part of spiritual life in the videos that I make. The more that I dovetail that message and trying to bring that healing message and insight into the lives of others as they also consume astrology content, the more that I am making some element of my work into a service. The more that if I listen to the dishes and I put on a little kirtan, and while I'm scrubbing the dishes, I just think, I'm so happy to be serving my family or something like that. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be here and be learning. Let's just do what you do in remembrance. The two basic rules of Krishna consciousness: always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So always remember God, never forget God. Anything becomes service as long as we bring the attitude of, this is an offering for you. I'm remembering you. I'm thinking of you. I'm loving you. in that regard, it's like, if you've ever been in love, and I'm thinking probably of like 16-year-old love, maybe it's even a little Shakespearean and cheesy or dramatic. You can't stop thinking about that person. You're just, you're a little crazy, frankly. You're a little obsessive. You sit by the phone and wait. You guys probably remember what that's like when you're like 15, 16. You just sit by the phone. Oh my God, are they going to call me? And the point of service in bhakti is to bring that kind of need and attachment to God, and to love and to spiritual topics in general, to bring that into everything that we do. And when we do, it becomes service. When we make our food for Krishna, it becomes prasadam. When we offer it at our home altars, it becomes prasadam. When we do our work and we say, today, Krishna, I'm not sure if this work has anything to do with you, but I hope in some way this work that I'm doing will be make you happy. I hope that I do my work in such a way that it makes you happy. And how we do our work, the attitude we take, the way we treat our coworkers, even in a job that may seem like it has nothing to do with Krishna consciousness, if we think of God in how we do whatever we do, that's service. So the way that Hari told me, he's like, you don't have to like suddenly make your yoga studio into like a bhakti, a bhakti studio. Start simpler, start by just doing everything you're doing and dovetailing it with remembrance and devotion to God in your heart and in your mind, and offer your actions to God. If you just keep taking that attitude in time, then the practices grow and the environment around you changes, and you take on services that are sometimes more directly connected to the actual practice of bhakti. You might find a bhakti community and help out in the temple, sweep floors, take care of the deities, cook food, be a part of the management of temples, become a teacher. So, it's really, from what I've understood, it's just a service attitude. Just let me, whatever I'm doing, just let me try to bring God into it. And the more that we take that attitude and try to be a humble servant of other people, try to be helping, try to be bringing the healing message of devotion to God into other people's lives, which is the most healing message in the world, right? It's like so many people are suffering and they're like, well, isn't there something I could do other than trying to bring love into my heart? Like, isn't there a diet I could go on? Isn't this just my brain chemistry being affected by a diet? And if I get the chemistry right and lose the right amount of weight and, get Marie Kondo to come out to my house or whatever, then, I'll be straight. No, those are temporary modifications. Their results will, treat us to a nice, karmic dinner, but, most people will still have indigestion afterwards or trouble sleeping afterwards, so no, there's only one thing that the world needs, and everything else that the world needs will follow from it. And that's love. That's God's love. And so that's the heart of bhakti. That's the heart of what service means, is embodying that, living that, bringing that to other people. Anytime that we're doing that, even in the smallest of ways, with things that seem like they're completely unrelated, that becomes bhakti. So this is sanctifying our experiences through remembrance and devotion. And this is why you'll see, why do monks wear robes, shave their heads, bring their beads with them wherever they go? Because these are signs of their devotion. I'm plugged into this current of remembrance. That's what I'm doing. That's what I've chosen to do. I see everything else as, not satisfying. So that doesn't happen all at once. I'm not a monk living at that level. I'm a monk, but I'm not a monk, that's there yet, so just little by little, we try to dovetail our lives and our actions to Krishna consciousness. So I hope that this is helpful. I hope that you find ways of being of service. Remember that the best service you can do every single day, that's really easy that you can do from home, is take in bhakti content, listen to Bhakti, find some community online, this forum, questions like this. There's a great podcast called The Wisdom of the Sages. Highly recommend that podcast for daily Bhakti content. Reading the Gita, chanting every day. If you grew up in the Christian faith and that's more familiar to you, talk to Jesus. If you vibe with the Buddha, talk to the Buddha. But do it from a place of love and the desire to get close to the the personal reality of God that lives in the heart, because then we become more of the persons that we are. We're actually, so often we live in like deeply impersonal matrices of behavior and instinct, defending, mating, sleeping, consuming. We're people. We're real individuals we're like peacock tail unique. You know what I mean? Can't awaken that unless we're reaching into the depths of our being and meeting God there, who is a person, a being, not just a impersonal white energy or something like that. Although that's there too. Okay. Anyway, so I hope this was helpful, and feel free to shoot me any questions if you guys have them for the series. Bhakti Q&A in the subject line. info@nightlightastrology is the email address. We'll talk to you guys again soon. Hare Krishna.